Hi, welcome to the IHC Craft Room. I'm Mary. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this simple and festive dot painted Lazy Susan. I mean, you don't have to make it a Lazy Susan. You can dot paint this design on anything you want. That's the beauty of dot painting. The surface is optional. It's all a matter of what you like. But I made this as a hostess gift. I'm going to be giving this to someone when I go visit them at Christmas. And I'm really excited to show you all the steps and all the materials. So grab all your stuff and let's get crafty.
This is Mary. Welcome to the IHC Craft Room. For materials, we'll begin with a 12-inch bamboo Lazy Susan that I found at my local Dollarama. A bunch of different acrylic paint in silver morning, burnt umber, white, bright yellow, Christmas red, hunter green, and Christmas green. Some chalk paint in black, and some matte varnish. For tools, we have 10-inch wood boards, which we're going to use a little later as a template, a ruler, a paint palette, a cup of water, a wet rag, toothpicks, Q-tips, an eraser, a chalk pencil, a variety of paintbrushes, and a pencil. First, let's go ahead and unwrap this, give it a good wipe down and dry off, and then I'm going to use one of the 10-inch wood boards as a stencil and draw a chalk outline all around it. My plan is to paint everything within the circle with black chalk paint and leave about an inch or so of bamboo around the edges. And let's just say it didn't work out. Why? Because I couldn't keep my hand steady enough when I was painting it. And when I tried to fix the edges of the circle, well, I quickly realized this wasn't gonna work. So I scrapped that idea and painted the whole inside of the Lazy Susan black instead. Oh well, it's still gonna look stunning. Now let's add a couple of quick coats of varnish so that we protect the base coat in the event that we make any mistakes, which tends to happen a whole heck of a lot over here. Let's get started painting our Christmas tree. Today we're going to be working with items we have around the house instead of traditional dotting tools. And I'm going to start with my favorite tool, which is my pencil and some hunter green paint. We're going to be working without a net today, just using an image of a Christmas tree in my mind's eye and some paint. So I'm just loading up my pencil eraser with paint right now and laying down dots here and there, keeping that tree shape in mind. As we get into laying out our hunter green dots, let me share a little inspiration from my personal dot painting philosophy, what I like to call the IHC Dotting Rules. We're going to touch on these a little bit here and there throughout this video. Rule number 1. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if it's not perfectly centered. Nobody cares if it isn't symmetrical or balanced, and nobody cares if your tree is crooked or leaning off to the side. Nobody cares. Only you care. So stop caring and just have fun. Now let's get back to our hunter green dots. I'm slowly building out a triangle shape with these larger dots and keeping the space between each pretty big. We'll fill in all that empty space a little bit later. For now, I want to focus on building out the general shape of my tree. Wonderful. Now let's shift our focus to a smaller dotting tool. I'm going to use the top of this green paintbrush and I'll shift to Christmas green paint as well. You'll notice that I'm loading the top of my paintbrush up with a lot of paint, and then I'm laying down several dots back to back, but not in a row. I'm sort of laying them here and there, and as the paint starts to run out, the dots are getting smaller and smaller. That gives us a lot of variety in dot sizes and really helps fill in those spaces we left between the hunter green dots. I'm also using these smaller Christmas green dots to continue to fill out the shape of my tree. I'm going to switch back to hunter green to add some smaller dots in that color now too. And I'll use these smaller dots to try to even out my tree a bit. We have some rogue dots that are just like, I'm out of here. And frankly, I couldn't agree more. See you later. Meet my friend Le Damp Q-tip. Wee wee. Now that the base of our tree is basically done, I'm going to take some silver paint and using the smallest top I can find on a paintbrush, I'm going to start making a silver garland that will lay on a slight diagonal across the tree. I'm going to make a total of 4 rows of garland. That looks great. Let's grab some red paint and I'm going to use the top of my green paintbrush to make some smallish dots, and then I'll go ahead and spread some red ball ornaments around our Christmas tree. Wow, does that make an impact, right? This ain't no tree in the woods, my friends. These ornaments are screaming Christmas tree. And that brings us to rule number 2. Nobody cares. Continued. If you put too many ornaments in one section and not enough in another, nobody cares. Is your garland all crooked and messy? Again, nobody's caring. And also, your dots aren't perfectly round. Oh no, they're not like matching in size and perfectly spaced. Maybe some of them even like ran into each other. Again, nobody cares. Are you having fun? That's all you should be caring about. Before we add a little tree trunk to our tree, there's one more rogue dot that needs to be dealt with. Excellent. Now let's use that burnt umber and green paintbrush to add some medium dots. And then I'll switch to the blue paintbrush to fill in the gaps with smaller dots. Now let's use some bright yellow paint to dot the star at the top of the tree. Aw, that looks so sweet. Now I'm going to add a small yellow dot to the top of each red dot to give it that little extra to make it feel more like an ornament. I want to sprinkle a couple of yellow stars around the tree too for some added interest. There, that looks great. Now I'm going to keep using this little blue paintbrush and switch to Christmas green. And I'll start at the top of the tree and work my way down section by section, adding more small dots in and filling out our tree. To balance out the greens a bit more, I'm going to switch back to hunter green and use the tip of my pencil to make super small dots and finish filling out our tree branches. Man, does this look stunning. And that brings us to rule number 3. Expression over perfection. If you want perfect dots, you're in the wrong place. I'm not one of those bougie dot painters who's all about the perfect swipe and the perfect dot. Not here. I believe in everything being relative. Crafting is about having fun. It's not about being perfect. How boring would that be? Give me some handmade imperfections any day. If you want perfect, get a machine to do it. We're doing it handmade over here at the IHC craft room. I'm going to add a few more burnt umber dots to build out the ground a wee bit so that our tree doesn't topple over. And then it'll be time for some finishing touches because we're in the home stretch. Now that our beautiful tree is complete, there's only one thing missing to give it that final Christmas vibe. Because what's Christmas without a bit of snow? Let's add some here and there. Beautiful. I'll let the paint dry for a couple of days and then seal it with a few more coats of varnish before I wrap this beauty up.
So what do you think? It came out great, right? I mean, it's definitely not perfect. It's not perfectly centered. It's not perfectly symmetrical. The dots aren't perfect. And I love it, love it, love it. Because it's not perfect. If you want perfect, like I said, use a machine. If you want handmade, this is the beautiful result you're going to get. Something that you made with your own 2 hands, with all the love in your heart that you can give as a gift at the Christmas season, or keep it for yourself because this is beautiful. I'm really looking forward to gifting it, but if that wasn't going to be the plan, I would totally keep this for myself and use it for the Christmas season. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more about dot painting, or maybe wreath making or candle making, check out one of these videos. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!